I've been minister of small groups at to 3 different churches now. So presently I'm directing the small group ministry at a church in the Cape, Christ Chapel. I'm also doing the women's ministry there by default. But I am part of Leadership Transformations, and that's been huge. Steve Mackey has made a huge impact on my life, just with his focus on the soul issues. It all started by just taking one course at a time. I really had no goal for getting a degree. I was a very untraditional student. I started at the age of 46, not being exposed or had the gospel explained to me until in my early 20s. I really wanted to learn what it was all about, and I had a tremendous yearning for that. So actually I'd gone to Israel with a group of trustees from Gordon-Conwell, and Bob Cooley was very instrumental in encouraging me to come to seminary. I've worked with young people and contemporaries for so many years that often I do see a person that has a real yearning to learn more. And it's easy to say you ought to consider attending Gordon-Conwell or seminary so that you can further your education and go deeper in understanding of God's Word. It is such a life-changing experience that I know when I first attended here, I was so frightened. I felt like a little kid, and I mentioned to somebody, driving up the driveway, I'm saying, "Where's my mother when I need her?" Because I thought, who am I at the age of 46 think I can go back to seminary and learn all this, particularly when you get to the biblical languages. And yet I love to encourage people to come, because when there's a real yearning, you can do it. One person, Garth Roselle, of course, was so instrumental in my church history and the love of church history, and that really is the love that I have for church history. But another professor would be Dick Peace. And one day he said to me, as I was finishing up my church history concentration for my MATS, he said, your head is in church history, but your heart is in evangelism, and I think you ought to change. So I did. And then started on a second concentration. It was through Dick that I started to learn how important being was, and not just the head knowledge, but to move it down to my heart, because so many of his courses were very relational. They were soul issues, they were reflective, along with deep learning as well. So now I have 2 areas that I'm really committed to, and that's evangelism and discipleship. And that really shaped my ministry for the years to come.